you cannot tell me that this is not my real hair. This is my real hair, okay?
There's much more to discover. Promise to stay. Will you promise to never leave?
Hi guys, welcome back. It's been a long time. You guys have basically begged me to make this video, and I wouldn't be a true girl's girl if I ignored all of y'all comments asking me to make this tutorial. So here I am making this tutorial. I'm doing this in collaboration with Curlsqueen, and if you've seen the other hair tutorial, you know that I've been working with Curlsqueen since forever. This is the hair that I've purchased always, and they were just so generous to send it to me so I can make this video for you guys. In this video, I'm going to recreate this look. It has gone viral several times on TikTok, and I'm so grateful for you guys thinking that it's my real hair. It is not, but I am very grateful for you guys thinking that it was, because that allows me to create a very nice video on how I actually created this look. This time I'm going to go in further detail on how I did the sewing pattern and everything. But if you want to get this look, yeah, you need to watch this video, okay? For the record, guys, I am wearing the Curlsqueen hair as we speak. This hair I purchased myself a while ago, and people have been asking me to recreate this look. And so Curlsqueen sent over 3 of their bundles of this exact hair for me to recreate this. However, guys, I want to get into the quality of this hair. It's insane. From the moment I started ordering my curls at Curlsqueen, I never even looked at a different company. You know why? Because one bundle from Curlsqueen is 150 grams, super thick with a lot of volume, which is equal to 3 or 4 bundles of other brand companies. I'm not even exaggerating. Other companies will sell you 3 or 4 bundles that are in total 150 grams. Curlsqueen gives you one bundle that is 150 grams. I got 3, okay? I'm a little bit extra. You don't need 3 for a full head of hair. Honestly, you can see the material we're working with. 2 bundles is enough, okay? However, you know me, I like a big head of hair, so I'm doing 3.
Okay, now let's unbox this thing. One thing you'll notice is Curlsqueen always sends over this pink box with a Tangle teaser and a bonnet included, which I do advise you use in this process. I ordered 3 bundles, so I had about 450 grams of hair. Oh, and before I forget to say it, these are the water jerry curly bundles in hair type 3C, 4A, and 24 inches. But don't worry, everything will be in my description below, so if you want to purchase this hair, definitely check out my description. Now let me give you some tips and tricks to make this hair look very natural. One thing you should always do when you purchase fake hair or hair extensions is wash the hair beforehand. You really want to go in with a shampoo and just wash it, detangle it, make sure the curls aren't as tight as they come in, because that's going to make sure that your hair just looks natural. No one's curls are super tight. I know you girls love to put some conditioner in the hair or some leave-in conditioner. That is not necessary. A little bit of shampoo goes a long way. Just look at this texture. It is so beautiful. Anyway, I did the same for the other 2 bundles. So I washed it, detangle it, and then I let it air dry.
Okay, I know I'm looking crazy, I know, but trust me, this is the process we have to go through. So many people have asked me what my sewing pattern, braid pattern is, and I thought I would show you guys how I braid my hair, because I do say all the time it's minimal leave out, and it actually is minimal leave out. So the only part I leave out is this part. This is my real hair. This is what I leave out, right? So it's a V part, and it's also flip over, and then everything else is braided. Like, I don't know if you can see it properly, but everything else is braided down. So I just have these strands of hair, and that's the only leave out I have, okay guys? The only leave out. It looks crazy, I know, but yeah.
Okay, now let's start the sewing process. Girls, it wouldn't be a DIY if I didn't make a mistake myself, because when the bundles came, they were double wefted, you know? So it was basically like 2 tracks on top of each other. I separated mine into single wefts at first, but I shouldn't have done that, because in the end, I had a lot of leftover hair that I could have just used in the back. So what I actually did is I actually had to go back and take out the single wefted tracks that I sewed in the back of my head, double wefted them, and then I sewed it back onto my head. I had too much leftover hair, guys, and the back just didn't feel as full as the front because I didn't double weft it in the first place. So just learn from my mistake and don't do that. However, if you do have 2 bundles instead of 3 bundles, this method is perfect. you just use single tracks. Only if you have 2 bundles. If you have 3 bundles, don't be like me, because you would have filled up your entire head with just 1 bundle, and that's just not like logical. Aside from that, I just wanted to show you that I almost never cut my tracks. I always just flip them over and then continue sewing. I just think it's a little bit wasteful to cut your tracks. I only cut them in the front if I really need to do like very accurate sewing. However, if that's not necessary, then I just don't cut my tracks. I always flip them over and just continue sewing. This is mainly because I do like to reuse these bundles once I've taken them out and everything. I like to reuse them, so if I cut them, I can't really reuse them. Anyway, I think I'm gonna explain my mistake again. So last one, okay, this is the last bundle. I think I made a mistake by usually I double weft the bundles and then sew it on, but I didn't do that this time for the back, and now I have too much for this part. I think I'm going to sew back in the leftover bundles back at the back, but we'll see about that. Let's see how much I'm left with. Here, I just wanted to show you guys that in the front, I did decide to flip it over as well and not cut the tracks. I mainly do this because with curly hair, it's just not necessary to get it super flat. I know with straight hair, you want to get it as flat as possible, but with curly hair, that is just not necessary. See, this was all of the leftover hair, but like I said, I sewed it back onto my head. So this is actually what it looked like in the end when I did everything right. Okay, now let's get into arguably the most important part of this whole entire process, the styling and the cutting of the hair. I do everything in sections. This hair is too big to be messing with it as a whole. Now, I like to use Curlala as my curling cream. I like to use any type of gel. It doesn't really matter which gel it is. And I like to use the Tangle teaser I received the hair with. I think this Tangle teaser is great, guys. I always use this Tangle teaser for this hair. So why style the hair before cutting it? I know that a lot of hairstylists like to cut the hair wet. I really detest that. I really don't think you should be cutting curly hair when it's wet. You want to get a certain shape. So obviously, I want to see what that shape would look like when it's dry. And you can only get that when you style the hair, dry it first, and then cut the hair. So I make sure I spend a lot of time really wetting the hair, get enough Curlala product in there, and finger coil the out of this hair, because I really do think that that makes a difference in it looking fake and real. If you do your real curls, you know that you usually finger coil them. You also have to finger coil this hair, and it also makes the curls last longer, so you don't have to redo the hair every single time. I do think that finger coiling your entire head is the most time-consuming part of this entire process. So at this point, it was already like 11 p.m. and I started at 11 a.m. So I was really tired. But I got to finish the whole entire head of hair, which looks like this. And now it's just time to dry the hair. This doesn't have to take too long. I think it took me about 20 minutes because the hair doesn't have to be fully dry. It just has to be like 80% dry for you to do the next part of this process. Also, I dry my hair with a diffuser, as you should for curly hair. So I advise you do so as well. This is the hair when it's about 80% dry. It's still very flat, and you know that I love big hair, so this is where you need a pick comb. I pick the hair a lot. You do want to be careful not to accidentally separate your finger coils, so you really want to pick at the roots, not just randomly on your hair. Just pick at the roots and a little bit further away from the roots, but that's it. now that I've picked my curls, it's time to cut the hair. Like I mentioned earlier, I always work in sections, especially with curly weave like this, because it's a lot of hair and working in sections just gives me more control. When it comes to cutting curly hair, you don't really have to be scared of cutting too much because it's super easy to correct because the curls are big and full, so mistakes are basically hidden. I actually cut a lot from the top because I love that wolf cut shape. You're not going to get that if the top is too long. It gets heavy and drags the rest of the hair down. If you want that big poofy afro look, you've got to cut more from the top. It's basically like layering. So when I cut my hair, I usually start in the front because those pieces are the shortest and frame my face. And from there, I layer everything else based on how the front looks. I always cut shorter at the top and longer at the bottom, so I'm creating a diagonal shape, and I do it in sections. So first I take a bigger section in front and cut from top to bottom, and then I split that into smaller sections to even everything out. I do this so I don't end up with one random short piece and another super long piece right next to it. For the back of my hair, I do the exact same. I start with the top, just cut diagonal shapes, and then I slowly go to the bottom. But honestly, the back is harder to do, so I just take random sections and then compare them with the shortest section I have in the back. I don't think I can explain it as well as I can show it, so I just advise you watch what I'm doing. Once you feel like you like the shape and the way you cut your hair, I advise you go back in with a pick comb and really pick at the hair, make it big, make it poofy the way you want it to look, and then go back in with the hair dryer to fully dry the hair. Like I said, I cut it when it's like 80% dry. I want it to be 100% dry to see the end result, so I do advise you go back in with a hair dryer. So then it's time to do the other side as well, and naturally you'll start cutting the other side by looking at the shortest pieces in front, and then from there on you layer it the exact same way you did the first time. The other side is actually easier because now you have a reference of what you want it to look like, so you just have to eyeball it. Now finally I'm going to show you guys how I blend my natural hair. For this I either use the dough mousse or the Inner Sense gel, and this time I'm using the Inner Sense gel because I didn't want to wait forever for my hair to dry. This gel dries out really nicely, and for my 4C hair it's super important that whatever product I use, it actually holds my curls, and Inner Sense gel does that for me perfectly. All I have to do is make my hair slightly damp, apply the gel, and then finger coil my natural hair. And my little trick to make this blend seamlessly is to twist my natural hair strands into the weft bundles. That way you can't see where my real hair ends and the extensions start. Once it's twisted in, I let it dry so that the gel kind of works like a glue, holding my hair and the extensions together for a really natural blend. And then finally, I spray some oil spray over my natural hair. I just like to do this to make my natural hair a little bit shiny. For finishing touches, I like to go back in with some Curl to finger coil some of the ends so that they don't look puffy. You want a big look, but you want your hair to look defined. So you want to finger coil the ends of some pieces. And honestly, at this point, guys, I was so tired. I couldn't even be bothered to dry down the pieces. I just finger coiled. So after doing my little dancey dance, because I was so happy I was done, I went straight to sleep.
Good morning, guys. It's the next morning. I slept with my satin scarf and bonnet, and I detangled some of the finger coils because they're really tangled up. And what I just did is I literally just flipped the hair over. So there's no middle part here because the middle part was here, right? But this is what the hair looks like after sleeping with it. I absolutely love the way it came out. You know, the thing with this hair is you have to let it marinate. You have to let this hair marinate. That's what I like to call it. You have to let it marinate for a while so it will poof up, it will become bigger, because this hair is just never really fully dry until you let it dry for a few days. I tried to dry it last night and it wasn't completely dry, so I slept, and I think this morning it's like almost like 100% dry, and this is what you'll get eventually. Like, it's exactly the look I told y'all it was. And I know maybe the back is not even, but usually I have my boyfriend to help me even out the back with like some scissors, just literally cut it straight, but he's not here, so I'd have to do it myself, and I'm really not that good at that shit. But some people ask me how to do the bang, and this is literally how I do the bang. I flip it over and then I just let it fall in front of my face. Like, I let the bangs frame itself, and eventually it'll get like this natural shape. And you can just work with that, right? That was basically it. That's how I got this look. After a few days, the hair fully dries up and it starts looking like this. But you have to have patience with this hair because the older it gets, the better it gets. If you guys want a tutorial on how I sleep with this hair, I can definitely give you one. Just leave a comment. If you like this video, please subscribe, please like, please follow. Definitely also check out my TikTok, which is also Ramon Charissa, and my Instagram for more pictures on this hair. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.